Welcome back to Law Friends Live. Tonight, my guest is John Edward Jones, and we're discussing personal injury law. And I'd like to start this segment with a question that was sent to us on our website, www.lawfriendslive.com. Lisa from Orlando asks, if you slip and fall on spilled water, immediately get up, tell the waiter that you're okay, leave the establishment, and later that day you realize that you've been injured, what are your legal rights? Does the fact that you left the establishment hurt you? John?
Well, I would first of all say, yes, it has some effect, but you also have to explain that in the light of embarrassment. Oftentimes, a person who falls, you have to go back to what the real issue is and what the real liability is. The best thing to do is as soon as you recognize and realize, and sometimes that does not occur for several days afterwards, you realize the full extent of your damages or injuries. But when you realize that you are injured, and you need to call the establishment and let them know. But oftentimes I've had cases like with a young person that I talked to today. And you have a young person, for example, that's 15 years old and may be out with an aunt or one of their parents and falls on water, which is a common occurrence. And she has wet pants and she's in the middle of a mall and certain people are laughing and things of that nature. The first thing that they want to do is get out of that embarrassing situation unless they're unable to walk. So it doesn't mean you don't have a case. It just means that that's the type of case that you need a trial attorney with experience to handle that issue.
I agree with you totally. I've handled cases in the past where it was an embarrassment issue and the person only wanted to get out there and leave, and only to know or only to find out 2 or 3 days later that clicking noise in their knee and when they go to a doctor is a torn meniscus where they never had a torn meniscus before. I had a fellow that had a herniated disc, and over a period of 3 or 4 days and then later on into a week, his herniated disc got worse and worse and worse. And we talked to the doctors about that, and you can have symptoms from a herniated disc really get bad 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks after an accident. So not telling anybody is not fatal to your claim because that can be explained away easily. And you know, in those cases there was no problem with the later reporting on it. So I agree with you, John.